And so the psychologists would argue that there's two ways our brains sort of develop, right? We have like convergent thinking, so that we all spell alike and we all enunciate the same and know what to do, like look both ways when you cross the street. Very important things, convergent thinking. And then there's this divergent thinking. It's like, well, if you're doing it this way, I might do it this way. Or if you're doing it this way, I might. And you know, we studied famous divergent thinkers like Leonardo. It's like the church says this is the way it is, and Leo, he's like, I don't think so. So we like honor divergent thinkers, but when we get to schools, we don't really like divergent thinkers because they're always like asking these impertinent questions, right? And we tend to squelch it at public school because it really disrupts like your flow, it's their flow. And so on the playground, it's like they can kind of set up their own world. And the guru of playground design I did a lot of community built playgrounds. And Jay Beckwith in California was the main guy that was writing a book about it. Like getting people together, having a pancake supper, building a playground at your school. Because the school board was not going to build it. And so, but the parents kind of thought it was important. So they did that. And so I read his book and I was in Ohio and I was like, I'm going to have the parents build this playground. Because the sequence of how it worked is I painted the sewer pipe and I went over and I read this book and I signed up for teaching kindergarten class and I lasted about a month. They were having me do like bulletin boards or something. And so I dropped that class and I was reading all the books on playgrounds, which there were about 6 by then on the planet. A great little niche. And a student teacher, a friend of mine was teaching there, and she said, I've got all these rowdy 5th graders and I need to get them out of my room so we can like have the girls draw. They were all girls. And so I said, oh, we should have the kids build a playground because I just read this book, like Adventure Playground. And the principal was like a farmer, and so he thought, makes sense to me, you know, because he was just like this farm guy. And so somebody gave me a barn, and we tore down the barn, and I borrowed a truck and hauled the barn over there. And I had these 5th graders build this playground. And it's probably one of my favorite playgrounds we ever built. You know, I didn't know what I was doing. Like I just kind of grew up to help my dad. I did a Pinewood Derby, and then I built this playground with these 5th graders. And so, and the principals came out, he's like, wow, that's pretty, and we kept going up. You know, we had a whole barn. So we go get another truckload of wood, and we had a handsaw, and we had I don't think we knew about levels. And we had a drill and rods, because everything was different sizes. It was a whole barn. And all different wood. We had these poplar boards, I remember, like this, because they were clearing Ohio forest when they built that barn. I gotta step ahead, let's see. Oh, so we built this playground. The kids had a great time on it. They had these races through it and they clocked each other. And this must have been about 72 or something. Before, like, people were busy doing other things besides law, I guess. Maybe they weren't drumming up law cases or something. But finally, some parents like watching this. It's crazy. I mean, the kids built it. It was crazy looking, you know. And so, but nobody ever really got hurt because they were just like playing on those shoals. It's like be like risk management on these shoals with the kids out there. You would shut them down because they're slipping, rock and falling, and you know. So they tend to. I think it's sort of God's graces when you watch kids playing. They're jumping. So some parent called the principal, said, I think it's dangerous. He's like, oh, you might be right. I don't think so. They got their friend at the club or something to say it was dangerous, and they organized, like 5 parents called. He's like, a movement. So he said, we got to do something. They think it's dangerous. So I said, okay, we'll take off the top floor. This was, the kids were like climbing around up on top of there. So, and you might be right. And so I said, and then he said, no, you got to take off more than that. So we're down. There's like 4 levels, and there was a bottom platform that kind of leveled out. It was on a hill. I said, could we just leave this platform for a stage? I mean, it was like this high. And he was like, no. And that was my first introduction to like people say one thing, but they really mean another, right? Because it wasn't about safety, because obviously it was just a stage. So I got this feeling like there's something else going on. But they wouldn't just say, we don't want the kids to have fun outside, they should be inside learning. Or, I don't know, it's like, looks like an old barn. or so it was kind of. And all through my time of building playgrounds, I've heard a lot of reasons not to do a playground, but it's usually they don't usually say we don't like children playing. People don't come out on record doing that. It's kind of interesting how many times people change the rules on playgrounds. And well, let's walk. Let's walk the line.